Hello, I'm Brian Costello, and welcome to the Teacher's Journey podcast, where we talk with some of the best educators around about learning and life as they share the stories that made them the educators they are today. All right, so excited to join everybody again on this journey. Tonight, our guest is Adam Juarez. He is a technology integration coach and world history teacher at Cutler-Rossi Joint Unified School District out in California. Adam is a Google certified trainer and Google certified innovator, class Sydney 2017, and he is the creator and designer of the Cardinal Innovation Center, which he's going to tell us about later on in the show. So really excited to have Adam on. Adam does some pretty incredible things in his school district. I had the chance to be out there, take a look at some of the crazy things he does out there, and really, really excited to hear him tell his story because some of this is going to be brand new to me as well. So looking forward to having you on the podcast. Adam, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we might as well start at the beginning. When did you decide that you were going to be a teacher? Like, when did you just know, like, I'm a teacher?
God, there was probably two real points in my life where I kind of knew it. One, when I was about, 6-7 years old. What I always talk about when I open up any session, when I present at conferences, about how I grew up in the locker room at Fresno State. My dad was the equipment manager for Fresno State football and baseball and soccer for 25 years, and that's where I hung out every day after school. So I grew up with a lot of athletes who went on to the NFL, Major League Baseball. So really cool way to grow up. But somebody who ended up being big time over on not too far from you. He was a Fresno State wide receiver from 1985 to 1986. His name is Stephen Baker. He played for the Giants.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Stephen Baker.
He caught the eventual game-winning touchdown against the Bills. Before the whole missed field goal. But Stephen Baker I looked up to him. Just a little side note, a good buddy of ours, John Carippo, was a teammate of Stephen Baker. But Stephen Baker, I remember being 5-6 years old, and after practicing games, he let me ride a skateboard around the locker room, and kind of really was like a big brother to me. And I'll never forget one time during a halftime feature on him on TV, he talked about what he wanted to do after his playing days and about working with kids. And somehow that always stuck with me. I'm like, I want to be like Stephen Baker even more. Like, as amazed as I was to him on the football field, that right there really made me look up to him more than ever. And that always stuck with me. I'm like, man, I want to work with kids. I want to be like him. And always stuck with me. And then probably, I think I was a senior in high school. I remember walking out of a history class and, I've always loved history. I'm just like a natural historian. I collect things and I curate things. I couldn't help it. And I'm sitting there just like going off on history after this class, and a friend of mine's like, dude, you really like history? I go, yeah, dude, I love it. I think I'm going to major in it. He's like, well, what are you going to do with it? And just instinctively, I just said teach. Like, I didn't think. It just came out. And like, I remember walking to the cafeteria after that thinking, looks like that's what my career path is going to be. And
that's pretty cool. So it's just kind of, you have that inspirational person who guides you towards, kind of someone you look up to who made you really feel that way. And then, just kind of had that feeling. So you're able to kind of walk that path right away.
Yeah.
So tell me you go to school, you've figured this all out. You go and you study history, you can become a history teacher. You get out of school, you walk into the classroom. What was that like? Like, just walking into a classroom for the first time when it was yours, when the kids in there are your responsibility, when you have to teach them and not just be in the same place.
For me, it was like that a moment where you just say to yourself, it's about damn time. Like, I looked forward to it for so many years, and I remember, I think of the movie Pearl Harbor, which is very historically inaccurate. As a historian, it drove me nuts. But there's a scene in that movie where there's one of the main characters, his good buddy, he's like ahead of his good friend. He can't wait to just like get me into an airplane. Like he wants to get in there. And I had a good friend who was like a year ahead of me. He was in the classroom, and I hear his stories, and I wanted to get in. I just wanted to be there like him. So I remember I kind of had my own kind of like experience from like that movie. Like just get me into a classroom. And I remember I finally getting in there, and it's like, it's about time. I just wanted to take off. And that first year, you learn so much. And you're like, it's October, like, man, what the hell am I? I don't think I know what I'm doing. And I remember I came back that next year over the summer, and like, man, I had grown so much. And like I feel like I knew what I was doing the second year, but that first year, like, it was a lot of trial and error.
I think that's pretty common. I think one of the things that I've written about is like they closed the door on the first day. And I don't want anybody to have this feeling like nobody needs to know that I have no idea what I'm doing. Like this is my goal for the rest of the year, is to make sure that nobody knows that I don't know what to do. So you pick up a lot in that first year. You make up a lot as you go along. Yeah. How did you get through all that? I mean, there's so much to learn. There's so much to figure out. The kids know you don't know what you're doing. I mean, they see right through you a lot of the times.
Yeah, you know what? Where I work, I joke about it. But when I first started at that middle school, we used to joke about that the inmates ran the asylum. It was a huge, real horrible gang problem. I was breaking up fights almost daily. And it was real, just like a baptism by fire. But I was lucky to have a department and a bunch of colleagues that really kind of, they were there for me. We'd go out every Friday for lunch, because we back in the day when we actually had a 45-minute lunch. It was amazing. I can't remember how that was anymore, but a few raises later, we had to kind of give up some time at our lunch. But I'd go out for lunch every Friday, and then almost every other Friday we're going out for drinks after work, and we just had that camaraderie, and I could lean on them for support. And they didn't let me sit there just sink or swim. They were there for me, and I really took full advantage of that. And then the year 2, I was able to really kind of spread my wings and kind of really find myself as a teacher.
So it's really cool that you're able to pull into that period in your second year. So when did you realize, like, I think I might have this under control? Like, maybe you're not perfect, you still got, I mean, all of us know we have lots to learn and grow, but when did you think, like, I've got this and I can figure this out? Like, this is going to be okay. I'm not drowning anymore. I'm actually doing something positive with this instead of just trying to survive it.
Probably toward the end of that first year, when summer came and kids were almost they gave me like all these, they used to make me all these cards, and they were like, man, I want to be in your class again. Just tell that really validated, like, I had made a connection with them and really made a difference in their life. And I remember I came back that second year, and the kids that I had the year before they came and hung out in my class during lunch. They come out and hang out in my classroom after school. Like they missed it. So that's when I knew, okay, all that struggle that I went through, it was worth it. I had made a difference as a, like, unsure of myself as I was. It was the kids that really kind of defined, who I was as a teacher.
Yeah, that's really that's one of those things that makes it special. And you have the kids that come back. They have kids they wish they were with you. They wish they're in your class. They want, they want to be around you even when they don't have you as a teacher. That's awesome. So, what do you think it was that helped you build those connections?
You know what? It was it's a combination of things. There's no real magic bullet for doing that, and every community is different. Community where I work is about 95% of my students are the kids of Mexican migrant farm workers, high poverty.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my last name helps a lot. I didn't grow up like these kids. I grew up very middle class. My parents both college educated, but going to college, I associate with a lot of people who came from similar backgrounds as my students, and I pretty much lived in a foul squalor when I was in college in a pretty terrible neighborhood. So I I saw a lot of that firsthand, so that kind of prepared me. My student teaching, they put me like the roughest school they could find. That really prepared me. And being as young as I was at 24, I tell people I still see myself as a kid. I don't see myself as being mature, even though people they look at me. I'm supposed to be mature, but I guess that kind of mentality, kind of childlike mentality that I have, really helps when I teaching middle school. And just because the fact that I was young enough to kind of be in tune with what the kids are into, I was able to kind of connect with them on that level, and that really I think was my big asset those first couple of years.
Yeah, and I know that even now, as I'm very rapidly becoming an old man, I try to really stay in tune with the kids. I listen to the music they're listening to whenever I can manage. Sometimes it's a little hard, sometimes it's great. Some of the stuff's great, some of the stuff really, some of the stuff blows me away that people listen to it. But I try to stay on top of the things they're doing, try to ruin most of their sayings, at least throughout the year, by using them over and over again. As soon as I start using them, it's over.
Yeah, I did the same thing. We had we had our own vernacular in this town where I work, and I made fun of it so much where they stopped. Like the entire town pretty much stopped. I take much pride in that. So,
you ended all the sayings.
Yeah.
So, history teacher for a while. I know you just kind of jumped back into being a history teacher this year. So what, when did you decide to, and what motivated your shift into becoming a tech integration coach?
That kind of came just completely out of nowhere. I mean, I've always been I've always been into gadgets my whole life, like using computers. I mean, I don't know a lick of code, couldn't tell you a thing about it. I tell people I know how to use computers. I don't know how to program them, but I know how to use them. And I would always use whatever tech was available to me and try to be as creative and as innovative as I could be with it. And our upper admin took notice of it. So they would always let me be like the beta tester for new stuff. And then it happened to be out here in California, we have a new state initiative we call the LCAP, which kind of gives, with our state funding, more local control over what we do. Like they give us the money, but they give us a lot more leeway about what to do with it. So one of our first meetings about what to do with our money, we did some breakout groups and we were brainstorming about what our ideas were. And I happened to be in a group with at the time was the principal at our high school, and I was still at the middle school, and she was hearing my ideas and she was loving it. And then she came in and visited my classroom and saw the way I was integrating technology, and she was like, "Hey, you know what? I want to bring you over to the high school next year," because they were transitioning all of our middle school into combining all our ELA and history teachers, so that there really wasn't a place for me. So she's like, "I want to bring you to the high school. I'm going to give you all the tech you want, and just be creative and innovate." So I moved up to the high school, and she after about 6 months at the high school, she saw what I was doing. She says, "You know what? It's happening all over the country. They're creating these new positions for tech coaches. I think you're perfect for it." And she's like, "You should interview for the job." And I did, and I got the job. And and then she's still my boss now. She's kind of just gave me like carte blanche to go out and learn. She's like, "Go ahead. She's just here. We'll take a look at some of the things that the classes the county office offers, and just give a blank check. Just sign up for them all. Go. There's a few EdTech Team Summits coming up. Sign up, go there, learn, connect, and see what you can." And we just become a Google district. And she's like, "All right, I want you to learn everything you can about Google, and you're going to lead the revolution." So I did.
That's got to be so empowering, right? I mean,
yeah.
Somebody who believes in you and then says, "Here, go learn, go make it happen."
Yeah, I went and learned from all those EdTech Team Summits, and went to whatever the county could do, and just kind of just self-taught myself and became an expert on Google stuff. And I connected with a lot of people, you in particular, and just kind of snowballed from there. And the past 3 years, the trajectory of my career is something I never would have imagined. It just happened. Like there's no plan. It just happened naturally.
Yeah. Just kind of fell into your lap a little bit, and then you took took charge and made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they made a good point. Just made so many connections that with good people around that they kind of helped build you up and helped you give you some opportunities that you wouldn't have had. I know that's been the same situation for me. So past 3 years have gone kind of wild and crazy. I know I had the chance to come out and see Cutler Rossi, see not only the chance to see some of the cool things that teachers and kids are doing there, but also the chance to see firsthand the students coming in and saying, "Oh, it's Mr. Juarez!" Like everybody's so excited when you walk in the room. Class stops. You know, we walked into a whole bunch of classrooms, and I don't think any one of them continued teaching or operating when you walked in the room. So, I mean, clear that the kids love you, kids respect you there, which is fantastic. So you're, I know one of the things for you, and this is something that we met not long after I had the chance to go to Innovator Academy, and you were really excited about that possibility. So 2017, you're trying to make something happen at your school district, trying to make some good changes. Talk about your experience in Sydney. Talk about your project, the Cardinal Innovation Center, and kind of what you have going on there with all that, because there's some really cool things happening. And not to mention, you got to go to Sydney as Google office as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know what, that I had like kind of like that. It all kind of circled back home for me last week. One of the I guess I'll start from the present. And I'm gonna circle back to the beginning and bring it around. But one of the initiatives for the Cardinal Innovation Center that I started, again, everything I do seems to happen on a whim. I'll have this fleeting thought and then I'll just run with it. So back in the fall, I had this idea. Out of nowhere, I was driving to work, and I want to do like a Google certified student program. So I mean, I'm a certified trainer, so I guess I have the swag to do that. So I kind of just came up with, some performance tasks that kids are going to do. They're going to screencast it, and I'm going to, evaluate it, and I create a little certificate for them. And I do that with all of our freshmen. And some of the freshmen that came in, there's a group of 5 of them that were part of the genesis of the Cardinal Innovation Center. So if you rewind 3 years ago when I first began as a tech coach, those kids were they were in the beginning of their 7th grade year, and I'm working with them. And before I can work with them, I just had this idea, like I want to just pull kids out of their classroom. I need to be challenged. So the teacher can lower their class size. They can intervene. They can get more stuff done. And let me take those kids who could potentially they're bored, so they could be problems. Maybe I've seen that happen. So I said, let me bring them and just tell me what you want them to learn, and I'll create some innovative project for them to do, and really to show off their learning. And the first science teacher, she sent me 5 kids, and we did the whole thing with screencasting and blogging, creating a website for learning about biomes. And those kids now are at the high school, and they're in my Google certified student program. And they're walking into my classroom and seeing like what they were like the first kids that they came into the Cardinal Innovation Center 1.0 years ago. Not even knowing that it would become what it was going to become. I just had it's what I wanted to do as a tech coach. Again, I was given that freedom to do it. And now they're in my room. They're looking around what my room has become with the whiteboard walls and the TVs and the Apple TVs and the flexible seating and the green screen and all the toys that I have. And I looked at them. I go, dude, we're all here today because of you guys. Again, I'm going to be like Jennifer Casatana. I might cry now. But it's like, I owe a lot to you. I owe you guys a pizza party. Like, you guys, this all exists because of you guys. Like, the opportunities that I've had is because of you. And I guess I would say even what I started with them has led to the success in my professional life and my personal life, as you can attest to. I probably wouldn't have made that connection had it not been for the direction that my career went. it just wouldn't have happened. And so, going back to that, so I again, it was all my Cardinal Innovation Center project, which is my Google Innovator project. It started with me just pulling kids out, and then other teachers said, "Okay, I'll send you some kids. This is a cool idea." So it just kind of snowballed. And when I met Catherine, she's like, "That's a great idea. You should just build it." And so we started collaborating on things like cvtechtalk and other projects. And it's like, hey, you know what? I forgot to tell you. Q has this contest called the Leroy Finkel Big Idea every year. So that thing that you're doing, that could totally be a Leroy Finkel Big Idea project. You could totally win. And I become a finalist, and I actually go to Q last year, and I win a $500 prize for it. And it just kind of boosted my swag there. And I applied for the London cohort, didn't get in. I was a little pissed off about that, but but I was like, I felt like I was in Toronto with you, because the captain was. Well, I felt like I was there, and this is the coolest thing. I researched. I'm like, I want to do that. And I think my idea could totally do it. It could be an innovator project. And I was a little bummed after the first time I didn't get in, and then I just said, okay, I'm going to apply for all these. I'm just going to just resubmit all my applications, and lo and behold, Sydney called, and there you go. I'm flying 15 hours to Sydney, and it just it's just been growing like crazy, and I can't even really explain it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool things about that whole program is the connections you build with people. I mean, obviously, we met through Kat Goyette, who is an innovator with me in Toronto. That Adam is in a relationship with, and also is co-founder of cvtechtalk, and does a lot of other really great things. Has some great presentations she puts together with the two of them. Wonderful hosts. Had me out at their home, which was pretty amazing. And yeah, I can't say enough about two things that just strike me about the story that you have told. Is one, the ability to go and make things happen that was given to you. Like one of the biggest parts I see, like when I listen to the story, is you were given opportunity and leeway to go ahead and learn. Here's what do you need? Let's make it happen. I like your ideas. Let's go make them happen. And so often you get into places and people say, "Oh, we can't do that. This won't work. That's not going to happen." I hear it a lot where I am now. I've heard it in places where I've been before. "Oh, we can't do that." And it seems like you get the exact opposite situation in your case, where someone said, "Go for it." And what do you need to make it happen? And then all of a sudden, it snowballs into some, not just one great thing, but lots of great things for you personally, and for your school district, and for the kids that are there. I mean, that's really awesome. And then the second piece is all the connections that you built from that, like all the people that you've met, all the people that have helped you out along the way, whether they be kids or other teachers or, family members, but just having those people there to, you talked about the teachers you had, the team you had when you first started out, having all those people that kind of build and guide you along the way. I mean, so much of it comes down to the hard work you've put into it, but at the same time, without all those people there, without that door opening, what might have happened, what could have been. So really cool to hear all those pieces. So one of the things I want to get from you and everybody who comes on the podcast is before I let you leave for the day and call it a night, before I let you get out of here without shedding any real tears. If you were going to if you're talking to teachers, and you do talk to teachers quite a bit, but when you're talking to teachers now, you're talking to teachers, whether they're new or teachers who have been around for a while, what's the most important thing that a teacher can do to feel successful, to be successful? Especially you get those teachers that are in a rut, or those teachers who are starting out and they don't really know where they're going to go. What are they going to do to be successful?
Um, I would probably say that. I mean, if you look at my story, I was fortunate enough to have that department and colleagues who really supported me, and eventually that kind of eroded away as things changed, and that department kind of disappeared and shrunk, or to the point where I became a department of two, and that's just the way things go. But again, it's about those connections. And when I became a tech coach, the best advice I ever got was get on Twitter. That's where it's at. There's teachers, experts out there giving their knowledge away for free. They told me grow your PLN. So got on Twitter and I connected with as many people as I could, learned from as many people I could. I discovered the art of the Twitter chat, and then I became addicted to it, and kind of still am a little bit. And we and just sort of connect with people and learning and my learning curve. And I never feel like I don't need to know everything. That's a huge misconception with teachers. Traditionally, the teacher is the font of knowledge in the class. They're the most interesting person in the room. And really, we don't have to be. That's a lot of pressure. So that's a lot
I
of
don't
weight.
know about you. I'm pretty interesting.
I
I
am
can't
too,
help it when I walk in the. But yeah, no, I get what you mean.
but the older I get, the kid's kind of like, oh yeah, here's a dorky old guy, but whatever. But I don't feel like I have to know everything. That's a lot of pressure to have on your shoulders. And if I don't know something, I know enough people, but I know who will know it. And that safety net of having that PLN that I can rely on people to give me answers and ideas. It's so empowering. Like I don't fret about. I need to know everything. And if I want to try something, I know who to call, who to ask, and they can give me those ideas, and I can run with it. And it, I remember early in my career, a veteran teacher told me, just wait a couple years, you'll have all these resources that you created, and then every year you just go back to your filing cabinet, pull it out, and boom, it's automated. And I remember thinking that, I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I got to that point, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I have a better idea. I can do it better. I don't want to do the same thing over and over. That's boring. And because I have that PLN, that's such an extensive PLN now, that I can learn from so many people, and it's always fresh. I always have a fresh idea coming out, and don't have to teach the same thing at the same time every year. And it's just so refreshing and empowering to have that ability.
Which is, for some people, that's just a scary thought. Like, I have to do it all over again every year. And I don't know if it was because I was really bad at filing or because I really didn't want to do the same things over again, but I ended up doing things, making new things up all the time. Probably because I was bad at filing. But, I love that, though. You get that advice, oh, yeah, you'll be all set once you get all these things creative. But being able to do it over again and do new things keeps it fresh and keeps it exciting. Keeps you coming back. As you say, both of us are creeping towards the older end of the spectrum. Neither one of us is necessarily old yet, but we're not young anymore. And some people will tell us you're young. They're not right. But it's still fresh. It's still exciting because you're not doing the same thing every year. You're doing new things, and you have new kids, and I love that piece of it. So yeah, absolutely, get out there and make connections and use, I hate to say use people, but use those people to learn from. I mean, that's what they're there for. And that's, one of the beautiful things is that all of us, or most of us, many of us in the profession, as we learn that people are willing to give to us, give back as well. And I really like that about, that connection that a lot of us have built. So really awesome things happening out at Cutler Rossi, a lot of which have come from work that you've put in and work that your kids have put in. So I can attest firsthand to a lot of cool things that have happened out there. Love it someday to be able to get back out there and see what you are all up to again. Thanks so much for telling your story tonight and sharing it with us and all the people, and giving them some sage advice from the old man. And yeah, so thanks for being a guest. I really appreciate you sharing your journey.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. It's a big honor, dude. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks so much, Adam.
All right, dude.
Thank you again, our guest tonight, Adam Juarez, co-creator of the Twitter chat cvtechtalk, hashtag cvtechtalk. You can find Adam on Twitter at TechCoachJuarez. Adam, the creator of the Cardinal Innovation Center, and just shared such a great story of opportunity and empowerment, and also support from his fellow educators. So looking forward to sharing the story with you all, and thanks so much for listening. Tune in next time. Make sure to follow us for the latest updates when the podcast is coming out. You can follow us on iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and more outlets soon to come.